Arataki Itto, the new Geo Claymore user coming in 2.3 and who is generating insane levels of hype, and for good reason. He is looking to be an incredible solid Geo character and probably the first 5-star Geo main DPS, although nothing is confirmed yet. But now the question on everyone's mind is, should I summon for him? And will he be any good? And so let's have a little discussion about these points. Now the first thing, so it's been a little while since the last Geo character, with the last being John Lee's rerun banner, but before that it would be Albedo, and so it's going to be interesting to see how Itto fares, as Geo as an element is in an interesting spot, as to this point we've never had a true Geo 5-star main DPS, as John Lee before him was more of a support than a main DPS, although he definitely could be played as a main DPS, but obviously it was more suited to that support role. So having Itto be Geo's first 5-star main DPS will be very important for the element, as it will set the standard of how Geo will be played, because Geo as an element is quite unusual, as unlike the other elements, it does not rely on reactions to deal its damage and usually relies on instead just pure damage from the character's abilities, which is why Geo characters often have high multipliers on their abilities. Now because of this, it's always been a little difficult to fit in Geo characters, as they will always not provide anything, at least in terms of reactions, and only have their abilities, which is not always a bad idea, as someone like John Lee, who has the strongest shield, is often run in many comps. But now it brings us back to the point, seeing as Itto will likely be a main DPS, it will allow us to build a Geo team solely around him, fixing a lot of the problems with figuring out how to fit in Geo characters in your team. But now, speaking of the team, one very important thing, almost as important as the character themselves, is what team they will fit into. So now, the obvious answer for Itto is a Geo-based team, but more specifically, who will be in that team? Well now, seeing as the Geo Resonance is not only extremely good, but requires a shield character to be in your team, it is highly likely that John Lee will be an ideal pairing, as his shield is just so good not to use. And hopefully pave the way for more Geo based teams, as when Shao was released he helped Anemo have a proper 5-star main DPS and still ranks as one of the top DPSs in the game. And so hopefully Itto can be the Shao for Geo. Now, with great hype comes great expectations, and recently miHoYo hasn't quite hit it, not only with Raiden but also Kokomi hasn't really lived up to the expectations of the players. Now don't get me wrong, they're both superb characters in their own right, and in the case of Raiden I've actually been having a blast with. But seeing as Itto will be the first new 5-star character, seeing as 2.2 is just going to be reruns with the one new 4-star, Itto has a lot of expectations. So will he deliver? Well, that is the $1 million question, which in my opinion, I honestly feel like he will. Now, I might be huffing some serious copium right now, but from what I've heard, he is looking to be an extremely strong and somewhat selfish playstyle, wanting to stay on the field for long periods of time. And so, now, should you summon for him? Will he be the Geo character to rule them all? Well, I hope so, as well we don't want every new character to be better than the previous, as that will lead to insane amounts of power creep. We still want them to perform at the level of the current DPS in the game. And so my advice is, if you are on the fence, then perhaps wait a bit closer to the date for more information to make your choice. But if you're like me and have already decided he will be the next character you will main for a few months, until at least the next cool looking character comes out, then I wish you all the best with not only your future summons, but also the grueling artifact farming that comes with any new character. But now, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.